Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Saturday. Welcome to the Life of Books. What month is this? September edition.
Your anniversary.
I know. It's about to be my anniversary.
How about
Yes.
that?
I have a little
Happy
extra pep in my
anniversary.
step.
Yes.
Thank
Yes.
you. Tomorrow will be my 5 year anniversary.
Yes.
Your anniversary. Yes.
Come on here, anniversary.
And my husband's birthday. Yes.
Yes.
Happy birthday. He will never forget our anniversary. I think he did it on purpose. But I am truly excited and I cannot wait to celebrate such a monumental moment with him. And sidebar, cheap ploy. If you're not doing anything tomorrow at 10 o'clock, please join us. We are celebrating his birthday. Our address is 7001 Belch Drive, Forestville, Maryland. If Bishop Wright has ever did anything to impact your life, please join us tomorrow and help us make this day such a grand celebration. We are truly excited to honor our leader, and any chance that we get to show him just how special he is to us, we don't take it lightly. So we welcome you to join us. And there's a word in the house too. Not only come to celebrate him, but hear the mighty vessel that will join us on tomorrow. I'm excited about that. And with that being said, welcome to the Life of Books. Today is going to be an extraordinary day. We have such a great panel before you today, and I can't wait. If you're joining us for the first time, the Life of Books is an online book club. It is designed to bring the power of the pages right to your living room, your car, wherever you find yourself. It is our heart's desire that there's nothing more powerful than turning the page of a book. And in the world of social media, we just wanted to remind you, don't ever put down books. Reading stimulates the brain. It's a mental vacation from chaotic worlds. And it just helps you become a better you. We're all about making sure that we are the best us that's possible. And this is one of the resources that we use to bring out our absolute best. We say this often, the Life of Books is just us sitting around the table with our shady, fun, loving, crazy, wonderful, phenomenal, dynamic selves. And let me listen.
That was the first thing.
Let me tell you something. This is a shady bunch of people. And I'll take my rightful place as probably number one. Number two. But just know that it's all love and it's extremely genuine. But you cannot have soft skin in this group right here. Let me tell you something. We will build your confidence through pain if we have to.
You will build your confidence.
That's our tagline. Oh my God.
But I wouldn't share life with anyone else. I mean, these ladies have made this journey so worthwhile, so enjoyable, and the pains that life could bring to you, I feel like their love, their laughter, and their shielding shields me from those things. So I hope that I am just as dynamic to y'all as y'all are to me, because you make me great. So with that being said, let's introduce ourselves to our online audience. Again, welcome WLV Listen Vision Live.com viewers. Welcome all our social media audience. If you're joining us on Periscope, hello. Please share this with your social media audience. Welcome Instagram. Welcome Facebook. We welcome all avenues. We getting in trouble, y'all. He telling us we doing something wrong. It's always Charmin. Look at it. It's always one. Charmin done something wrong. Thank you. We don't take it lightly that you get up at. Oh Jesus.
Could have done it there. We was good.
Oh,
Thank you.
This is what live online is. Live online is. Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Yes. Chivalry is not dead. Chivalry is not dead. She's finally here.
Now Shami does not look at herself above us. She's now level with us. Glory to God. We'll start with you, Shami. Can you introduce yourselves to those that are listening? You might have to talk loud so y'all don't have to share one mic. That's gonna get frustrating.
No.
Jeremy, we only got 3 mics today, and there's 6 of us. Jeremy, if you're viewing, we need our mics.
Ooh, this thing worked too. Good morning. This is Charmaine Cabina. Good morning. This is Don Harvey. Good morning. It's Diahann Smith.
Yes, Miss D.
Good morning. This is Shalonda.
Good morning. I'm Marcy.
Yes, and behind the scenes we have Hadassah and Laura, and this is the Life of Books crew. This month we are discussing a read called Inspired by Love. I'm excited. We have joining us, we have a special guest. Tamika is in school for her master's, and this is the weekend that she's away. And Tashia has a wedding, so she's getting all dolled up so she can be with her family today. Ladies, know that you are missed on today. And we have our honorary special guest today, Dr. Dawn M. Harvey. Yes, my friend, my girl, my prayer partner, my cheerleader, I'm honored to share this moment with her. She's the visionary of Inspired by Love, and Elder Diahann and myself are contributors of this literary work.
Great contributors.
So we are excited to present our very own work with you all today. It's going to be an extremely impactful day. Again, if you haven't already, please share this with your social media audience. On your other phone, not the phone that you're using to view us on, call your friends and tell them to jump online. They can listen again at www.listenvisionlive.com, Periscope, Facebook. Please share this moment. Love is the most powerful emotion that I know, and today we'll be discussing it. I believe that it's going to transform and impact many hearts, and the more that watch it, the greater the world will be. Hello?
Yes.
I've never done this before, but today I want to dedicate our show to a young lady that I've actually never met before, but she inspired me through her walk on social media. Social media can be such a powerful tool, and the young lady name is Cressida. She recently passed with a battle with cancer, and I believe that God would heal her, but He knows way more than I do. And it has been my heart's desire to just, in the way that I can do it, to keep her legacy alive because she impacted me. Fashion is something that I absolutely love. But on the last days of her life, she went out of her way through her pain to encourage people to be great. She said, she said, I have a brand new car outside. I have every Chanel bag that you can think of. She said, I can get on a plane to go anywhere. She said, but I can't get back the moments that I miss with my family, she has a baby. Please keep her, sir, can you put the picture of Cressida and her daughter up for me, please? She has a baby girl that, please, every chance you get, she was very intentional about not bringing her into her public life, so I don't know her name. But when you see her face, please keep her baby lifted in prayer. It is my heart's desire that those people that are surrounding her daughter will forever keep her memory alive because she was such a bright spot in the earth. And I visit her page often, even though she's no longer here. I still go through her page. Just because she touched a certain part of my heart, and I'm just not ready to let her go. So today I am dedicating today's show to her memory. She was a bright spot in the earth, and I think that it should be recognized.
Amen.
With that being said, before we dive in the book, again, thank you for joining us. We don't take it lightly. The next 2 hours, it is my heart's desire that you feel like it is yes, Dr. Harvey, 2 hours.
She said 2 hours.
That's why she was that's why she was calling me shady in the beginning. That's what she was trying to say.
We have you for the next 2 hours. And look, life has happened, so you will see my Red Bull can this morning. Look, let me tell you something. I need it. Before we go on, I always like to have you ladies share a moment in your own lives. I've already shared the fact that I have an anniversary and a celebration of a birthday of my guy this week. Charmy, what do you have going on that you might want to share? How's life been with you since the last time we've seen you?
Well, since the last time you've seen me, I have gotten a 6-year-old.
Yes! Come on!
Yes, bypass.
Yes,
I'm doing bypass. Yes, bypass potty train.
And life with a 6-year-old every day is quite interesting.
Yes, it is.
It is quite interesting. But I can honestly say I do not regret my yes.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yes. Like he brings so much life to me. Like
Yes,
he's great.
he does.
He's great.
He is great.
And I think one of the biggest things that I can take away from this moment right now is the fact that in spite of everything that's been happening to him, he is the happiest little kid.
Yeah.
Like he will smile. Everybody loves him. They're like, oh, he brings so much joy to the room.
He's so great.
Like he doesn't even realize like everything around him that could be wrong.
Yeah.
You know what I
That's
mean?
so good.
That's because, Sharmy, that's because you're so strong and mighty in his
he's
life.
a great kid,
Yes.
so, yeah.
Dr. Harvey, now that you're here, do not give Sharmy any more organic cereal because he has to suffer through eating it. And he does not like organic cereal. Please don't give him any more.
He was like, what is this? And I was like, it's cereal. You gonna eat that cereal? He was like, can I see the box? No,
Wait.
you cannot.
He said, every time I eat it, I feel like I'm going to throw up.
This is what.
Don't give her any more
How did
organic
you
cereal.
But how did you transition him from the candy and Lucky Charms
One
straight to
morning he woke
organic? You
up
gotta.
and it was just organic cereal.
Right, but you gotta transition him.
I said he can have Lucky Charms on the weekend or something like that. But he don't like that.
Did he eat the sausage? The organic
Oh,
sausage
he ate
is okay.
that
Okay.
Dr. Harvey, share with us what you have going on
Oh
so
my
much.
gosh,
Condense it.
Condense it though.
See, y'all, the introduction from the beginning of the show that she made, y'all hear her saying condense it, see how she, first, I wouldn't rather be anywhere else for 2 hours.
Amen.
I love this. This is such a real group of women. It just blesses my heart to spend time with them. So I'm excited about being here, and nobody else can get me up at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
I had to posture my heart and my clock. I had to posture I texted her and I said, wait. I said yes before I asked you what time. Let me posture my heart and my clock. What time? Because I don't have that 6 a.m. anointing. God called me to noonday prayer 10
Oh my
years ago.
Lord.
He had enough people on the watch night, okay? He had enough people on that.
Watch night.
Yes, Lord. Listen, overnight, starting at midnight over. No, they command the morning. I rule the day. That's what happens.
That's right,
Okay,
that's
that's what happens.
right.
Enough of y'all in the morning.
I know my lane. I know my lane.
But for them, I would do
I'm gonna use that the
anything.
next time.
Yeah. But I, really, I'm just really inspired by the impact that Inspired by Love is having. We have sold the style that Lady Nakia Wright has on. The
Come on here, lady.
Come
Wright.
on.
great
Look at this.
shirt. You can wear the jeans.
Come on,
you can wear
model.
it with the pencil skirt. Yeah, I actually used her picture to market it, by the way. And
That's model.
people, we just wanted to get something that flattered everyone's shape. And in doing that, people have now donned those as their organizational shirts for their conferences.
Oh, I love that.
So I think one organization is ordering 55 shirts, the other one's ordering 32
Come
shirts.
on.
Like, it started a movement that people just felt like we embraced our own body shape. We embraced what we look like, the different complexions. We inspired them that we love each other no matter what. We're not different. We're actually combined in the universe by God's power. So that's been exciting that something happened that we didn't expect, that they love the book. They're inspired by it, but more importantly, it showed them something they wanted to dress like, be like, look like.
That's so
And when
good.
people start admiring how you carry yourself and what you wear. So to me, it's just really embracing this new venture, journey, season, and now movement with Inspired by Love. That's what's happening right now. I'm finished.
I love it. We had a successful book launch on September the 8th. Dr. Harvey put together a phenomenal event where all of the authors, yes,
We put together.
a successful event. Well, all of the authors came together and we shared tidbits from our chapter. And it was such a great moment.
People are still talking about
Oh my goodness. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I did. It was great. Elder D, what you got going on?
Oh, gosh.
Good morning, everyone. Life is full right now. So many things opening up in a wonderful way. I had the pleasure of hanging out with our illustrious Marcy and Lady D and Charmy and Hattie last weekend serving the kingdom. I am building another system. So just when you think that you have mastered a lane, God uses your creativity and your ability to build, to bring information together in a format that people can understand. So I'm building a system right now, but to God be the glory.
You see, these masterminds that we walk with, I'm building a system right now. Come on now. I love it. Shalonda, what you building?
Listen, the lab.
Everything.
Listen, the lab. I have a lot happening
Yes.
One of the things that I'm really proud about, I have, everybody knows I work in the lab. I manage the biggest section that we have in the lab in one of the local hospitals.
She tests your blood, your urine.
Yeah, I'll
your
tell you what's wrong with
samples.
you.
Oh, she
Tell
what's
us
wrong.
another day.
So I tell Sharmi, tell Shalana to bring a cup. So she can test my stuff.
She ain't bring it. Well, no, Paul was like, but what gets me all the time is that why does Shami have supplies all the time? She be like, I got my own tubes, I got my own gloves. I be like, where do you get this from, Sean?
I got small things to all people.
This is from Grey's Anatomy.
Oh, yes.
This is the first you get from.
And when
I need to get this.
yeah.
I need to go get that.
And I'm on the phone with her, she be like, I know what that means, CMP, CBC, just hollering out stuff. Yes, Shami has been taught by Grey's. She went to the College of Grey's Anatomy. So she thinks she knows all things medical. But one of the things that I've established is a smaller team within the bigger team. And my smaller team that I have, 2 of them actually got promoted to the leadership and management team. Awesome. So I'm so excited about that. I am devastated. I pushed them out there. I was like, it's time. They like, Shalana, you think you ready? I said, you ready. I've instilled so much in you. You know what to do. I trust you with my department if I'm not here. I think you're ready. So they both applied. They both got the position. So I'm so excited for my girls.
And now you're the department short.
Yes. And now I'm sick to my stomach because I was like, these are my strongest 2 people. What am I going to do? What was I thinking? Drama, just giving them drama. Oh my God. What am I going to do? So what was funny was the other day something came in and it's normally something they would do and they both saw it come in and walked away. I don't care about your promotions. You will still do this function until I find somebody to do it. So that's one of the greatest things that's happening right now. I'm so excited for my girls. Yeah.
Well, again, lots going on. Work, my second job outside of work, my consulting, all that. But what I'm most excited about is that in October, I'm closing chapter 39. I'm turning 40. So, I'm excited. I'm already celebrating. And, I'm trying to restrain myself because if I buy stuff too early and say, oh, this is for my 40th, then by the time my birthday get here, I'm like, oh, it doesn't feel like So anyway, but I'm excited about closing chapter 39.
I love 40. I love them 40.
So I already put a deposit on your birthday. Do I have to remind you?
No. No reminders, then. I'm going to save it. I'm saving it until the 27th. My birthday is October 27th, so, I take cash checks and all major credit cards. And Cash App.
What's your Cash App name?
$ Marcy Diahann.
Marcy was being very modest, but it does need to be recognized that for her organization, she's like tripled the targets of what she needed to do for money and meeting for revenue and all of her meeting goals. And she builds programs, and her programs are just doing some phenomenal things. So that's definitely worthy of being recognized and celebrated. And celebrated. I love having these moments because I feel like everyone should be honored and celebrated. So this is one of those moments. Just that I've already shared a few of mine. I just want to just give a special thank you. This week I probably have been very underwater, and there have not been enough hours in the day. And I felt like I didn't take wins this week. I felt like I've been hitting some L's this week. But I have to give a special shout out to Sharmi because she's covered, she's stepped in, she's represented, and she's done some things that I couldn't even say out loud. And I just have to publicly say how much I love her and Laura. I mean, they are like the greatest team. And I thank God for them. If they ever leave me, they have to take me with them.
So they never leave me.
Let's dive in. Again, if you're just joining us, thank you so very much. We are discussing a book called Inspired by Love. This is the Life of Books online book club, the #1 online book club. Glory to God. And it would not be that without you. So thank you for tuning in each and every last Saturday of the month. We're going to make a note towards the end of the program about what is going to take place in October, but typically we're the last Saturday of every month. So thank you for your sacrifice of time every Saturday morning. Today is going to be a little different. I love when we have the authors in the room. So we're going to start out first by hearing from you, Dr. Harvey. And the first question that I have for you is, why Inspired by Love?
Oh, wow. So, I tell the story about how in 2006, the Lord put the inspiration of his love in my heart, and it changed the course of my life. And then about 2 years ago, he led me to, after having conversations with one of my pastor friends, look at the lives of the people around me who had similar testimonies, that you could see the love of God in their life based on their character, how they carried themselves. And I reached out to them, and everybody said yes. And they all wrote a chapter about something that God has done for them, brought them through, developed them in an effort to shorten the learning curve of people we haven't even met yet. That's the goal, is to remind people or to notify them that if you start with everything else, you'll be trying to figure out ways to maintain it. But if you start understanding that you are loved by God, he will do everything. And I unfortunately didn't grow up in the best situation. I love my mom. She's an amazing woman. I got my entrepreneurship from her. But unfortunately, my father was an alcoholic. He was very abusive. So based on her situation, we were in our situation. And I've been working since I was 12, left home, been on my own, had my own lease since I was 17. So there wasn't a lot of support as it pertains to human beings. And the love of God came into my life and changed the trajectory. I mean, you would never look at my life and know that I came from a broken family, because I'm not broken. You would never know that I came from an abusive family, because I don't abuse people. You know, a lot of times people say, well, that's because of what you are. And so if the love of God could inspire me to be different, I believe it can inspire other people to be different. But you have to realize that he loves you first. He loves you in your faults, your flaws. He loves you in your mistakes. As a matter of fact, he predestined your forgiveness for what you haven't even asked forgiveness for yet. That's how much he loves you in the blood of Christ. And so I found women that I believed had the character of someone who was living out the inspiration of God's love in their life.
That's good. That's very good. During today's show, we want to give away 2 books. If you want to be entered into the drawing, can you just put your name in the comment section on whatever avenue that you are watching, and we will pull a name by the end of the show, and we will send you a book. So if you would like a book, please make sure you put your name in the comment section. And can you ladies type it in your feeds, please? I'm going to start with myself and Diahann, and we'll talk about how we felt being chosen for the book. And then I'm going to ask you ladies to share your thoughts on the overall book. So I'll start with myself. I was honored when Dr. Harvey asked me to participate in this literary work. She asked me at a time in my life where love looked new. And love wasn't what I thought that it was. Just when I thought that I had a grasp on what love was, from being a mother, from being a daughter, an aunt, a friend, a cousin, a sister, the Lord blessed me with becoming Mrs. Wright, and it expanded the grace on my heart. And it allowed me to see love through different eyes. And if I have committed because God kept me, not because I'm perfect, but because he brought me through my own choices, I vow to be an answer, because I didn't die in what I chose. And this gave me an opportunity to share my heart and my life and my walk. Again, oftentimes when you share, you never want to give the perception. It's typically not, I've arrived. It's that I've come through all of this and I made it. And if you're committed to being an answer, let your answer speak so loudly that it'll reach not just this generation, but generations to come. And allowing me to pen this in this book lets me leave a piece of my legacy in the earth. So thank you. Thank you.
Truly a special opportunity. When I view serving, I believe it takes on so many dimensions of who we are. And one of the most powerful things we have is our words. And when we edge our words on people's heart, we transform. So I couldn't think of a better contribution to make, but also from the perspective of an aspect of my life that I don't share often. So I said, if I'm going to share it, I'm going to share it transparently, boldly, vivaciously, and give the answers to questions many of us singles don't have anyone to refer to, because we try to categorize singleness just in one dimension, and there are so many expressions of singleness. So I wanted to speak to the voice of representation of my expression that I believe represents so many phenomenal single women doing the thing called life, loudly, proudly, and worthy of following. So I just wanted to speak from that perspective. So it was a pleasure.
Yes. Marcy?
So, I thought in just short words that this is the perfect antidote. Like, if there has been hurt caused by your own choice, or, because of your environment, or like, this is an antidote to love hurt. Like, if any type of love has hurt you, whether it's self-inflicted or, I think this is an antidote. And, even from the foreword, I guess we're not getting into that part yet.
What?
Oh, well, look, it took me out, right? Because I said this, and I heard myself talking to Dr. Dawn. She said, love in itself is a marvelous thing until you add people to the equation.
Yes.
Listen, I could have benedicted from this book right there. Because I said this. I said, it blessed my socks off, because I heard myself saying, oh, my love works just fine. It's these people, God. It's these people. My love works. It's not broken.
It's not broken.
It flows.
Yes.
It's these people. I wrote that down. It's these people. And then, that it sat with me. That moment, that right there, I'm telling you, it brought a tear to my eye, because these people. I'm telling you, the people. I'm telling you, you need to highlight. I'm telling you, it literally bringing a tear to my eye right now. Like, oh God, I could love freely if it weren't for these people.
I want to
Collective people.
listen. Do you know how? Do you know how challenged? She will tell you, I am the easiest. I'm just glad to be alive. I had cancer 3 times. I don't fight with nobody. I'm just glad to be here. Ever since the book got published, that week I have had craziness. My love walk has been attacked. The very thing that I'm trying to leave in the earth, the thing that I've demonstrated, even if someone's done something and we have an event and the people come and I was like, oh, you're like, oh, okay. And they're like, but wait, you love them. And I was like, okay. Like, you can't tell, because I don't hold discord. I don't hold grudges. I believe that if there's an issue, usually it's because of what that person is going through, even if it is with you. So I don't have those problems. And so when I say my love walk has been challenged, hurt challenged, and God refuses to allow me to walk hurt when I know better.
Oh, that's so good, Dr. Dawn.
It's not that it didn't hurt. He said, you know better than to allow them to make you walk hurt when you already know that has nothing to do with you. So you call them and apologize, even though you're not wrong. You call them. Am I telling the truth, Lady Wright?
She is telling the truth.
And I'm going to make it right, because love always wins. And if it means that you naturally lose so love can win, let God be glorified. Let God be glorified. It just means that in the natural, you took advantage of me, but in the spirit, he was glorified. In the natural, you disregarded my love, or you disrespected the opportunity I gave you. But if I understand that he's going to promote me even in the midst of your issue, and that he'll send me a glimpse of his love from somewhere else. He will. It'll be the person you least expect. You didn't do anything for them. The people you do the most for, the people you do the favors for, they are the ones that take love for granted. The ones who wish they had a relationship with you give you everything for nothing.
Yes, that's the truth.
So it's a challenge.
This is how she does me on the phone, and I said, "Listen, ma'am, I didn't call to be preached to." This is so good.
If I'm not giving her a news commentary,
Yes.
listen to what happened on the news. You got to read this because this is.
I love it. Let me say, she blesses my life so richly. Shalonda.
I think for me overall, it was an answer to whatever state you are. Whether you're single, you're married, you're widowed, you're divorced, there is an answer in this book for you. So you can pick it up and find out whatever it is that you need. And that it will give you light in those dark places of life. But since y'all are all here, I have a question. We're all talking about love and we're inspired by love. I feel like being in this role, I'm a psychologist too, because people like to come in my office and tell me all about their life struggles, and I'm just like, okay, I try to find the right words to say. What would you say to someone? One of my staff members, she's going through something very personal where, her family, I feel like they're using her. She's almost, at a certain or particular age, and I asked her straight out, are you happy? And she was like, I'm okay. And I told her, like, you have to choose you at some point of your life. When choosing other people are killing you, how can you be to them when you're no good for self? So what would you say to someone where I feel like love is being manipulated, but you feel like because it's my family, I still have to choose them, because if I don't, I'm looking like I'm disloyal to the ones that love me the most. So what would you say to that person? Either one of you guys.
I'll say this in very simple terms, because sometimes when people have lived a certain way for so long, it's hard to make a change. It's something that gradually happens. It's not something you would want that one word or one conversation to impact their lives, because life is about a choice. However, when it's heart attachments to it, sometimes choices are very difficult to make. So I would start with something very simple, and this is how I mother Kayla and Samaje. I start with a note on the mirror. Just handwrite in your own handwriting, and every day when you look at that note, you say, I choose you today. And one day, you, after you say it so many times, one day you really will choose you.
Right.
You will. That's the simplest thing that I can give for somebody who's been entangled in it for so long.
Well, one thing that you said that concerns me is that taken advantage of by the people that love you the most, then we need to redefine what love looks like to her. Because we do instantly assume, we see people the way you are. If you're a thief, you think everybody steals. If you're a liar, you think everybody's a liar. If you're loving, you think they love you too. They're just having it. But really, they're who they are. And so the Bible tells us to be wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove. And so I think that everyone in the relationship thinks they're giving more than the other one. No one thinks, I am taken from her. I am taken. They're thinking, and I went with her to the store, but she bought you something. I did that, but she really ministered to you, or she did that for your kids. But because, we all think that. They don't go in saying, oh, I'm taking from such and such every chance I get. And so we have to be wise enough. You know what I'm saying? They're not saying, oh, every time we go somewhere, or I always wear her out on the telephone. I never even ask her how she's doing. They never think that. Oh, we talk all the time. No, you talk all the time.
That's true.
And it's okay. It's okay, but we need to know what they're doing. Even if they don't know what they're doing. If we recognize, I'm fortunate enough to have a circle of even exchange. I bring something to their life, they bring something to my life. But I prayed for that about 8 years ago. I need a season of even exchange because I'm empty. And so if you know that this person is handling you a certain way, it doesn't mean that you don't love them because you put boundaries on your relationship for that type of love. Because they might be giving you the only kind of love they have.
That's so good.
But you have to define what love means to you, and then you put them in the categories that keep you from being wounded. That's what I had to do for me. Because if not, you'll be bitter. I was getting bitter. I was getting to the point where I was like, I'm about to lose my pastor's license. It's done. I'm gonna fix all of this. And God said the enemy's after your heart. Because if he can get your heart, he can get your head. And if he can get your head, he can get your thoughts. And you'll be outside the will of God over somebody, unfortunately, that don't even matter.
That don't even matter. It's everything you said is so good, and because you wonder why people resent the grace of love. You know, then you start to resent the fact that, well, I'm so loving. Well, God, why did you make me? And people are you need to create the boundaries, and because you're responsible. Look, I am responsible for my life, and look, the love that God gave me, I can't stifle that because of people, but that's what happens. You know what I mean? You start to withdraw your love. It's like, well, no, I'm not going to be bothered with Shalonda because every time we do. No, you just create a boundary.
Yeah,
so I love that.
Motives. I can't pick up. So whenever I get to I don't really know what's going on with her. She in another category now.
Yeah.
Because
That's so
I can't
good.
figure out what's happening, and I don't want to not think the best. So I put her in a category where I can see her the best.
Sure.
'Cause
Oh, that's
in this
good.
group, I can't and that's what I mean. That's why Inspired by Love is so important because when you rest in the love of God, you evaluate people differently. It doesn't mean you don't vent. Oh, I'll vent in a minute.
Yes.
Oh, I will vent and say how I feel, but my actions line up with my belief, not my feelings.
Oh, that's good.
So I still treat them the way the character of God has taught me to, the attributes of God. Even if my heart has to at least say, this made me upset, this hurt me. I
That's
ask
so
God
good.
to help my actions. So if I don't do that, then I won't have any relationships because the one who doesn't matter will break me so much that I will hurt the ones who do matter.
Yeah, that's good.
And so it doesn't mean we're not being fair to them. It's actually helped me survive because I was abused. So how does an abused person love people that they don't know yet? How did I fall in love with Lady Wright? How did I, you know what I mean? How does it happen? Because I decided that I was going to be inspired by God's love and let it do the sorting for me and teach me how to handle each person so I wouldn't walk around so broken I couldn't love anybody because I didn't want to be alone. Lord have mercy.
Let God's love do the sorting. That's the word of life for today. Okay.
Hashtag let God's love do the sorting.
Oh,
She's
God.
your friend. She your associate. Stop playing games.
And this is right.
This is so
And this
good.
is the one thing that you have to forget.
all of this.
That when you turn off a certain part of your heart because you don't want it to get broken, that's a part of your heart that you cannot give God because you can't just turn it off
Good lady,
to
right?
for certain people.
Right.
No, you
Yes.
shut that part of your heart totally down, and you already forfeit the best part of your future. And we don't realize that we give people
so good.
too much power over our life, and they actually become the ones that control our destiny, and we don't think about that.
You know what I learned about relationships is that it is okay for someone whose only volume, the level in which they will expend themselves, is conversation. It is okay if the next person's volume is assistance, and the next person is support, and the next person is love. And I think for me, because some of us, God has given us the ability to be in different compartments at the same time. So we really give people too much. And then we're upset when they either take advantage of it or they act like we didn't do it.
Yeah.
But
And
we misclassify.
Yeah.
And then we hold others accountable for our misclassification of who they should be.
This is like,
Yes, she's so good.
she's so smart.
Say that in the mic, Elder D. They hear
I'm
you.
sorry. I'm sorry. I just simply said that we hold people accountable for our misclassifications of them. And it's our responsibility to properly identify where they fit. And so often we're trying to put people in a box that they were never made to fit in.
Yes, that's so good. Charmaine.
Well,
That's already happening. It's already happening.
so before I say what the overall book was for me, I will say this regarding Shalonda's question. I used to be that person. Everything was yes, no matter what. Everything, I felt like I owed somebody something. And she needs to know that she doesn't owe her family for what they've put on her. That's not her responsibility. Her responsibility is to, yes, be there, but she doesn't owe them her everything just simply because they are family.
Yeah. You shouldn't have to write a check for it.
You exactly. You know what I mean? But that's just my little 2 cents. So, but overall for me, the book was a book of hope. You know, I feel like everybody's already said so many times, we put love in one particular category that we don't necessarily see the other aspects of it. We don't see the other side of love, the things that love makes you do, the things that it doesn't let you do. You know what I mean? So for me, it was a book of hope. It was a book of life. It was a book of answers, just saying that, hey, look, no, you can come out of this by looking on us. You know what I mean? It was a book of hope. So
Let God do the sorting. Look on us.
Let me tell you something. These ladies are dropping diamonds already. I'm excited about it. I done walk all the way up now. This is so good. If you're just joining us for the very first time, welcome to the Life of Books online book club. Today we are discussing Inspired by Love. We have the visionary here sitting with us, the Life of Books crew, and 2 of us are contributing authors to this great literary work. Yes. We want to bless 2 people with this book, so we've asked that if you would like to receive a copy, just to place your name in the comment section, and by the end of the show, we'll get all of your contact information via DM. There'll probably be somebody from our church. We hope that. So we'll just bring it on Sunday.
And look, if you're on Dawn and Harvey, I'm gonna need you to go over to Lady Nakia, right, and drop your name in there so y'all can have a fair shot, because that church go hard. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Yes. You drop it in my comments, they'll take a look at it.
I love it. Welcome, Dr. Harvey's listening audience. Welcome. And as accustomed to our tradition, we go through the book and we highlight parts of the book that we really enjoy. So I'm going to let's start with Shalonda.
Why me? Okay, I'm ready.
Yes. So let's do this. Let's start with Elder D's chapter. Let's go to Elder D's chapter. And what page is Elder D?
It starts on page 31.
31.
I got a lot.
Yeah, 32. Sorry, that was the cover.
So let's start with Shalonda, and let's share some highlights from Elder D's section.
I got so many highlights.
Her chapter is called "You Are Enough," and her target audience were singles.
Okay, so my first question that I highlighted for Elder D is, who is Jay on page 32? That she was K-I-S-S-I-N-G.
Wait. JJ, do you love me?
How about that?
Friday.
Who is this Jay, Elder D, that you kissing in the tree? Okay, let's be very clear about that. But one of the things that I pointed out was on page, let me see where I'll go, 35. Am I skipping past some things that you guys highlighted? 35. And she's talking about grace, which is so good. She said there is a grace that is reserved for you, which only flows freely when you come into alignment with the purpose for which your grace was given. So she goes in and she talks about grace. But at the end of that paragraph, she says, when our hearts are consumed with the desire to escape a place rather than to embrace the place, we have blocked our ability to receive the grace to overcome. Yeah. And that to me was like completely amazing, because so many times we block where we are because we choose that this is not the place where I want to be, so I'm going to hide from it. Yeah. But as long as you hide from it and avoid it, you can never come to your fullest potential. Right. Because it's in that place that we avoid that you learn the lessons to get you to the next level of life. Yeah. So for me, that was really good. And you still talk about grace. And I'm going to just say this last part. On page 36, since we all talking about grace, she says, to many of us, relinquish the grace that has already been offered to thrive in the space we find ourselves by putting constraints on our hearts. Our hearts conform to the capacity we believe it will. So that goes back to, yeah. Okay, let me go back. When we believe we have the ability for a matter, our emotions and energy connect with the strength to perform it. Keep going. Grace does not exist to be constrained. Grace cannot be manipulated. Grace is extended for us to flourish in our assigned places, not the place of our choosing. We stifle our capacity to flourish when we dismiss the value and dread the assigned places life has taken us. So for me, that was that part about grace. I am graced to do this. And I have to walk in my grace and own my grace, because that's the only way I'll get to the next level and live to my fullest potential. Amazing, Elder.
Yeah, if I would, I believe so often we want to teach on what we haven't lived.
This isn't loud enough for your volume.
Thank you. I believe so often we want to be used and we want to teach in things we haven't lived. And so often the things that people admire about you or aspire to replicate, they don't recognize came at a cost. And I had to learn grace was like a flow of energy. It's like a river. And the capacity to which we're willing to yield our heart and wield our capacity over to God will determine how effective our grace will perform what we're assigned to. So often I find that we resent the grace. And if I would be honest, we resent the manner in which the grace was designed to perform, because we don't like the consequences of how the grace is making us feel. Desire is dangerous when it is competing with purpose. And we spend most of our...
Now unto him.
Can we be honest? We spend most of our life journey wasting time complaining to God about why can't desire really be purpose?
Oh my goodness.
Why can't you use the giftings and abilities for my end and not yours? We manipulate our prayers and often will say we don't know. No, you do know. You just don't like the container in which God desires to use you. So it's funny because Lady Wright asked earlier, what did this mean to me? And for me, this was about being used in a manner that I did not want to be used in. And so before I wrote, I had my idea of what I call safe grace. See, safe grace don't cost you nothing. Safe grace to me is offering yourself in ways that are fluid to you. It comes innately to you. It doesn't require you to come outside of self and give without any return. And so when you ask to talk about parts of you that are recovering, have recovered, and are still evolving, you cannot manipulate what that looks like when God is requiring a yes, an unaltered yes. See, we like to say we said yes, but we offer pieces of a yes. And we pretend that we've offered the whole capacity, And we want a return on the piece. But the reality is it's a fragmented yes. And so when you learn to give your full yes, that's where the power of deliverance comes, because you have now given him back what is on loan. See, we seem to think that we own it. It's not ours. We're just a container by which it is housed. But the true beauty of offering our grace is recognizing what a powerful gift it is. Can you believe God is getting dividends off of my life because I choose to come into agreement with his choice, not mine? And that's the power of life, when you learn to align your desire with purpose and give him the capacity to be in your heart. Because so often we say, God, I just need you to do this in my heart. And the reality is we're the problem, because we've already put so many masks on what's already there. Can we be honest? The reality of our journey is we're stripping and unbecoming the many barriers that is stopping us from performing the very things that keep us up at night.
Yeah, that's the truth. Yeah, amazing. I mean, we can just go home now. This is so good. Yes, it is. I admire her even the more. As if I couldn't love Dee anymore. the fact that you are so free and open with the things that your hidden places, and you talk about it now so freely. You know, we don't get this often. So the fact that she's talking about her hidden places is what I know is transforming lives, and I love her even the more because of this. Because this is what being an answer is. This is what being willing to be a sacrifice looks like, just to help somebody else out. And everybody is not willing to make that sacrifice. So I am grateful that I can be a witness to the reward that you didn't do it to get this, but God has to bless you for it. He has to.
And you know, that's what's so interesting is when I looked at Elder Diane's life, when Lady Wright and I were talking about her being a part of the book, I didn't know before the conference call that even though this was her testimony, it was one of those places. I didn't discover her sacrifice in writing until I read her chapter. And then I understood that God was causing her to help someone in a place that was private. See, it's easy when you get the car and you like, they repoed my car and God gave me a new car. But when you don't have a new car yet, and you got to testify in the middle of your belief. Because see, that and the love of God will cause you to write what was a secret. The love of God will cause you to put on paper what you never talk about. And I just want to encourage you, because when you come from a broken place or broken places and you understand how the love of God puts you back together, I think that all of our life experiences and how we operate is based off personal perception. And so I want to encourage someone who feels like their desire is being unmet, and the purpose of God for that season is in a direction that's contrary to what you want to manifest. Because what I have learned the Bible says, I will give you the desires of your heart. The thing is, time will tell you that God lied. Don't let time tell you that God's a liar.
Come on, ma'am.
And so you'll start having these, I wrote down you need to have grace with yourself, because unmet desires provoke depression. It provokes anxiety. So you have to give yourself grace when God is not saying anything or doing anything. And the process that leads to purpose, if you handle it appropriately, will lead you to desire. It's that we get stuck at the process. It might be 2 years, it might be 3 years, it might be 4 years. And so we are trying to make something happen for a process God has deemed for something. You're trying to get this is what I believe, this is the desire. So God's not doing it and I want my purpose. And God is saying, there's a process you need for what you're asking me for. And you're trying to bypass a process. If you can't forgive, if you haven't learned to love at a level, I'm going to keep surrounding you with people that challenge your heart, because for what I have for you, you're going to experience 2 or 3 years of disappointments in relationships, because what I have for you, the relationship is so big. If you don't, and they might disappoint you at a higher level, if you don't come up with a method to deal with hurt and disappointment, you will ruin the thing that is promised.
Oh, that's so good.
So you need 25 bad people.
Charmy, this is the mute button on Dr. Harvey. When I do this, push that button right there and mute her. Okay? That's true.
It is, because I could not understand, how am I giving? How am I giving? Like my mother cannot believe how much I stay at home. I was a social butterfly, had relationships, all of that. And I learned that you keep pouring yourself in cups that have holes in the bottom. You cannot keep pouring yourself in cups that are cracked, thinking that they're going to hold your love.
Mute. Mute. What? No, I'm not. Come on. No. Charmy, let's talk.
Now unto him who is able to keep you from falling and present you faultless.
And they don't choose to fill their own cup. See, that's where the rub is. And blame you.
And they choose not to heal.
Blame is because they're looking at your cup and your cup is full, but they don't even know that you wrote a check in your soul for the liquid in your cup, that you told God.
I gave this mic to Charmy.
Yes, in the midst of disappointment, you told God, Yes, when nobody else would help you. They don't know that when you were alone, you did things that you knew were going to break your heart. They have no idea, and they're walking around cracked, jealous over a cup that they won't write a check for.
It's that cost of that yes.
It's the cause.
No.
We said this morning, we said it last week. The reward, the price is high, but the reward is
Yes.
Very much so.
Yes.
So much so.
Shami, please talk about your D's piece, please. D or Dr. Hall.
I want to say something about being ready, though. Can I say
Oh
that?
my Lord!
I think so often in our singleness, we're consumed by wanting to understand what God don't want to talk about.
Yeah.
And until you learn to align your energy with what moves him, you will not get the answer you seek. Until you come to a position in your heart that my life is valuable and I am such a precious commodity, and if I don't perform the commodity for which I was created, the relationship ain't gonna matter because it's gonna tarnish.
That's right.
Until I do the work that is required to bring balance to my emotions, balance to the parts of me that truly we don't address or know it's even there until we choose to engage in relationships. And we often wait to engage in those opportunities based on romantic relationships instead of everyday living. Every encounter is an opportunity to learn of yourself. And so often we see our readiness in the parts of ourselves that we are willing to work on and not the parts that we're hiding from God, that he orders us in situations and circumstances to address those parts that are required to be ready.
Okay, because it ain't working on that side.
But go ahead, Terri. Go ahead, Marcy, because I just have one side note to what she just said. I just listen. She has hit me. She's a no. She does. Yes, she does. She does love taps. Yes, she does. She does love taps. Don't y'all? Yes, she does. She does. I'm your friend, so I can hit you taps. Yes, she does. Yes, she does. Yes, she does. Listen. But I just want to say that we, when you understand the love of God, I want to make sure the concept of what we're saying is here, because I don't want it to sound like we're saying people are terrible or this. We're just saying there are people who are hurting, and I discovered that people that are damaged only recognize other damaged packages, so they have to make you look like them. So that's why it seems like you're always pouring into them and your money is dwindling and things are happening because you're serving somebody that's not ready for the relationship yet, and now you're putting weight on a relationship that it wasn't built to bear. And so but just before you mute me,
play the music.
but
We need a musician.
but I as we talk about the love of God, I also want to say God has an expectation of your life.
That's good.
So I was trying to be corporate America jet setting, and he was saying, no, your life was called to glorify me. So the reason I believe that we go through some of the challenges we do, and the reason why God is quiet while we're doing it, is because lessons are repeated until learned. And he has an expectation that you will become what he birthed you to be. So when you're behaving contrary, or don't understand the value of who you are, he will let you wander for 40 in the wilderness. He will let you wander around your life trying to figure out aimlessly what to do, because he has an expectation that greatness will be pouring out of you. And so that is why sometimes you're trying to go through a process and God doesn't say anything, because he's saying, I'm not going to talk to you about that anymore because that's below my expectation for you.
Jesus. Okay.
Take the mic, hit the mute button, and next time push her shoulder back and she just ignore you.
You gotta put your foot on the brake and and start the stick shift. That's what it is.
Okay. All right. So
Marcy.
I'm gonna jump in.
Yes.
So,
Marcy.
well, look, what I didn't say in the beginning is thank you guys for doing this.
Thank you.
Oh my God. So, I am going to go back to this point because I got to check. Thank you for doing this. Thank you. Thank you. So I already loved you guys. My life is blessed just knowing you, but this is, your heart on paper. And I wrote this: courage begets courage. Love begets love. This is going to save just because you did it. Just because. And God is a rewarder. So I'm so grateful. All right. Done with that. I need to pull myself back. I don't know.
But here's the thing. She wouldn't have wrote that chapter the same if he had already answered her.
And look, we were a package deal. I would not write this book if she hadn't said yes. We were a package because I did know it was a vulnerable place for her, but I knew if it had to be a word in the earth to deliver it with the capacity and the impact that it needed to save lives, she would be able to do it.
She's the one. Yes, I love that. I'm so grateful. I'm just grateful. And then so this is what I said overall about Elder D's chapter. Like, so Elder D is like the queen of one-liners, right? So I'm not gonna read a passage. I highlighted some of these one-liners. Like these one-liners, you just put these on make an affirmation on your bathroom mirror. But so, and I'm gonna jump around. 34, you are not alone, period. On page 35, not one detail of your existence is coincidental. And then we jump down. There is a capacity buried within you that comes alive with the acceptance of the path you were set on. And it's just like, there are parts of you that will only come alive with a yes.
Yes, it's true.
There are things in your life that will only unfold with a yes. All right, I'm moving on. I'm on page 38. Happiness recognizes that we cannot protect ourselves from sadness without protecting ourselves from happiness.
Yes.
We willfully accept to completely engage in our journey, knowing happiness is available to us. Happiness is your birthright. And I was like, yes, such a great reminder.
Happiness is your birthright.
And then this is something that, this is the last thing that I will share. It's on page 41. And this is what Elder D said. And it just made me smile on the inside, knowing what I know about her. I discovered my talent superseded my shyness. And I just said, oh, yes, Miss D, I love that. I love that. Knowing who she is and just yielding to the fact that I'm not going to let who I am keep me from being who God says I am, right? And passion drove me beyond my inhibition. I was like, come on, Miss D. Yes. So I'm blessed to know you guys. I love it. I mean, there's so many things in here, but I'm gonna let Sharmi have her turn this time. Yeah. Since Dr. Don took up, some of it. I'm just teasing. I'm just teasing you, Dr. Don. I'm just teasing you. It's all in love, but this is. It's filled. No, not at all. Not at all. It's filled with these one-liners. I mean, oh God, yes. I just can't.
Let me just interject real fast before you go on. We're at the top of the hour. If you're just joining us, thank you. If you're joining us from WLVS Online, our social media audience, welcome to the online Life of Books Book Club. Today we're discussing the book Inspired by Love with the visionary Dr. Don M. Harvey in the studio with us today with the contributing authors, myself and Diahann Smith. If you would like to be blessed with this literary work, if you already have a copy, if you want to bless somebody else, we're giving 2 away in this segment. So just drop your name in the comment section. We'll pull it at the end of the show, and we will contact you separately to get the book sent to you. With that being said, Sharmi, will you share with us your thoughts on You Are Enough, Diahann Smith's chapter?
So on page 38, and Marcy touched it. So I'm just going to read a little bit before I say. Happiness is choosing to thrive in spite of what we face. Happiness recognizes that we cannot protect ourselves from sadness without protecting ourselves from happiness. Happiness wasn't meant to be elusive. It was meant to be discovered. Yes. Down at the bottom, happiness resides in optimism. And I immediately thought about hope. There is no way for you to achieve happiness if you don't still hope for it. If you are so set in thinking that this is it, like, I'll never be able to get over this hump. I'll never be able to love fully again. I'll never be able to trust again. If you're always thinking about the what ifs, when you enter into a relationship, whether we're talking about romance or whether we're talking about a friendship, if you're always looking at what could go wrong, you will never ever be able to achieve the level of happiness that you expect. And so again, you have to keep your hope alive. And that's what I took away from that page right there. Happiness resides in optimism. It resides in hope. If your hope is alive, then you can be happy.
Very quickly, I'll just read one of my favorite parts from the book, from G's chapter. And let me say this, Dr. Harvey chose some dynamic women to do this work. I mean, there's truth on every single page. And everywhere that you find yourself on the love journey, you will find an answer in this book. And if it does not, I got so much out of Dee's chapter. If it does not even apply to you, the word, it doesn't have a title attached to it. So it can affect your life in any way that it is meant to. And this book, every single chapter is worth reading. Whenever you go, Bishop says that seasons in life is when something major happens. I say you enter into college, that's a new season. When you get married, that's a new season. I highly recommend this read at every new season in your life, because wherever you find yourself, it'll minister to you differently. This is a must read often. With that being said, on page 35, Dee says, I share the truths I have learned in my journey with the hopes that through the gleaning of my life, you will gain the courage to step outside of the box of every definition of traditional life that hinders you from embracing the grace that was carved out just for you. And when I read that, I thought about the magnitude, the impact, and the truth that you have to be in order to become. And you can never be a success without being different. Success doesn't come out of ordinary. And oftentimes we run away from different because we have never seen anybody do what we know that we were tasked to do. And because you've never seen it, you try to not live it. Because when I became a pastor's wife, I looked for examples of who can help me in my most vulnerable moments when I have more questions. Sharmi's my girl, Dee is my girl, Shalonda's my girl, Marcy's my girl. I can come to them about certain things, but if you've never walked this walk, you would never understand the full magnitude of what I'm trying to express. And I didn't see what I was looking for. So in my fetal attempt, I'm trying to become what I needed. So when somebody gets to where I am, or somebody's been to where I am, and they don't have an answer, I hope that my life is penning an answer. And when you said outside of the box of every definition of traditional life, I probably don't look like what most pastor wives look like in my walk, in my talk, and I'm so grateful for it. In order to make an extraordinary man like my husband great, in order for me to be the helpmeet that I need to be, I can't look like what I've seen.
Yeah, that's good. Right.
We're so often trying to. We're so often trying to put definition to our life experiences, and so we quench different when different is ultimately the defining element for which you was created. Absolutely. And we're trying to model a way we haven't seen, because ultimately it is through our living that the answer comes. Yes. But we're so busy wanting to read someone else's answer, and the answer that we're reading, even when we glean from one another, there's but so much gleaning you can do from their sphere of experience, because there are things that life is going to require of you that even in you going through similar experiences, my understanding of that is going to be different, because the repertoire of history I come from automatically puts me in a different perspective when I enter that opportunity. And so that's why it's so important to tell your story, because there's someone who needs the step of your experience to get to their next step. And we're denying people stepping blocks because we don't want to share the block of our experience that has cost us too much. So,
Jesus. Pastor Don, briefly. Without slaying the ram. Can you share a piece from Dee's chapter, please?
What, and I'm going to combine the two, from the conference calls, conversation, and the chapter. What I've learned about Elder Diahann has caused my heart to grow for her in a way that expresses the love of God. She reminds you that he's here.
Yeah.
You know, just by the way she articulates the understanding of where she is in the earth. That is a reminder that God is here. And so that's what I took away, is that she would remind someone else that he's here. The second thing I will say is I want to piggyback off of what Lady Wright said. This is a chapter specifically for singles, but I think male or female, this is a chapter for a person who needs to understand where they are in the earth, period. That it will minister to them in a way that will really bless their life. And I am so grateful that God gave us an opportunity to be the first ones to hear where she was, where God is taking her, and what she desires, because the very people who are reading this chapter now will be the same ones that witness God answering her quiet prayers.
Amen. This may be difficult to do because of how y'all are postured, but Charmy, can you take the mic to Hadassah? And Hadassah, can you share your thoughts on Dee's chapter, and then you, Laura?
Excuse me. Dream team.
The dream team.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Elder D's chapter, it really it hit home for me. I didn't know we had that much in common in some. I mean, I know I talked to Ms. D sometimes, and you know she's like, she's everything, but I didn't know we had. She's just everything, but I didn't know we had. She just. There wasn't that question that went unanswered. Like, everything was covered. And I felt like, and I think the first thing I texted was like, mission accomplished. Because it really hit home for me in some very special places. And it's caused me to really identify who I am in the earth. And just, it's just good. It's just really good. Yes.
Laura.
Hello, everyone. This chapter spoke to me in a great way, because I too came from the type of family that was a mom, a dad, always there, always involved. And that was what my expectation was, that eventually I would be someone who would be married, who would have children, who would have this, that, and the other. And when it started to feel like that was just never going to happen, it broke a part of me that I'm still trying to get all the way back. And
Don't you ever say never, though.
Never say never. Amen. And so I'm just really grateful for the understanding that you conveyed, that allowed me to feel like it wasn't so bad, or that there was going to be a place that I could move into, whether I'm single, whether I'm married, wherever life takes me and whatever God has planned for me. And I was looking at chapter 30, page 35, and this is something that spoke really greatly to me, because this is a conversation that this year, that I would say I had with the Lord, where it says, the middle of the page, there is a capacity buried within you that comes alive with the acceptance of the path that you were set on. And I think that was probably the greatest controversy within my own heart, because I had not accepted one way or the other, whether I was going to be single or married. It was, I'm broken because I'm not this. I'm not accepting the path that I was on. And that's not even to say that the path doesn't lead eventually to marriage or anything else. But I had not accepted one way or the other. And that right there, I identified so much with. because of where I've been. And it was funny because that's a lot of where I've been, you know. And I really appreciated that. It was a great read for everybody's parts.
Next month, did Kevin Hart write a book? Because we're gonna get a book about straight comedy. Because y'all are trying to take me out today. Jeez. This has been great, Elder D. Thank you for writing your chapter. I think that, as you can see, it has touched many, many lives. So let's go to briefly discuss my chapter. I think it's on 97. Just sidebar, I love the little the comment, the little excerpts in between the chapters from Dr. Oh, that's such a great touch. Yes. So Dr. Harvey, I'll let you start on my chapter.
Well, no, I'm just playing. First let me say why. Let me just do this because we didn't do it in the beginning. Let me just flip that over for me, Charmy, on the back. Acknowledge Pastor Regina Randolph Davis, Pastor Victoria Sowell, Pastor Terri Barnes, Pastor Vonda Taplin, Elder Angela Thornton for amazing chapters. And we need 5 hours to talk about the whole book, but they are amazing women of God. And so follow them, check them out, get the book. You can get the book from embraceyourgreatness.org. Go to shop, embraceyourgreatness.org. Again, Lady Wright is giving away 2 books. You can drop your name in the comments on any of the social media outlets that you're viewing, and they will review that and send you one of those too. But they're just amazing women. And so, but I want to go into, I wrote a book last year called Marriage Unbreakable, The War Against Divorce. And it is all the mistakes I made when I was married. A lot of people are like, why you write a book on marriage? Because the devil got my marriage, but if I can give them the tools and the mistakes I and my ex-husband made, then maybe he won't get somebody else's. That was the whole goal. So I watch very intently how people act that are married. I study them. There are people who are in high-profile positions that I would never want to mirror their marriages. I loved the way Lady Wright loved her husband. And I wanted her to put on paper her heart of transition at the time she was married, the situation she stepped in, because I knew that she was going to write what she was living, not what she wanted people to see.
Amen. And I'll say this, and then Charmy will go to you. The right kind of love is what my chapter is about, and it's WRIGHT. I know, so corny. I'm so excited about it too. Most people, tomorrow we'll be married for 5 years, but yes, amen, glory to God. Knees weak, blushing on the inside. But what most people don't realize is I got married at 38, which meant I spent so much of my life single. And there were dynamics that come along with getting married at 38, being the head of your household, a single parent, that I'm grateful for my husband because love broke down the strongness of who I was to make me be a great helpmeet. And while I'm steady learning, I'm grateful for how powerful love is, and guided the right way, you can become something you never thought that you would ever imagine to be. So the right kind of love it's probably one of my favorite reads. Really, better be your favorite. Charmy.
I am tickled.
So if I could be quite honest and very transparent, this chapter was a difficult read for me. Because, my growing up, marriage was not attractive. Not attractive at all. To the point where I'll be 36 in less than 30 days. And I have never desired to be married. Never. And then something about 3 years ago, turned over me, and I was like, oh snap. And so I have fought very very hard not to I've worked very hard to keep that part of me like locked up. And so, reading like how covenant works.
Yes. So good.
Just kind of, took me out.
And so therefore you
like you all have changed how I see covenant. And like, of course, because we're close, I may be privy to certain things, and yet the way you carry your covenant has like changed my life. And so this chapter was difficult not because I didn't think it would be great, but because I knew that it would expose something in me that I'm not ready to deal with. So, great chapter, Nakia. Great job. Like, you have mission accomplished. You have successfully, penetrated my own will. And, thank you.
Well, thank you for joining the Life of Books. I don't even know what to say. I'm just.
Well, this is why I love Life of Books, truth be told. And it is because when you're willing to share your heart and remove the robes of other people's perceptions and just authentically lay it all out on the line, it empowers people to do the same thing. And while it makes us uncomfortable in many ways, we are teaching others how to be vulnerable. And Charmy, already my love for you. I say Charmello, as I love to call her. If we had more replications of the qualities she had, we would solve so many world problems. One of the things that I loved so much about this chapter was being one that's the product of a blended family. I learned very early that life is so much what you make it. And it's an act of your will to choose to be a peacemaker and to be peaceable. And in your chapter, you do such an excellent job of teaching foundational truths about commitment and about making covenant your own, because we're so prone to look for a model instead of becoming a model.
Yeah.
And I think you've laid such a model that inspires others to just embrace whatever your model becomes. Yes. But let it be a model that's worthy of replicating. And you show that this is one not only to admire, but one worthy of replicating.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you. So good. Marcy. So, I don't know what is wrong with me today. I'm just like a mess. I really am a mess. I don't know. So the right kind of love. Yes, I love God today, just for this moment. So I said that, I'm gonna just be overview, and then I'll read something that I enjoyed all of it. I enjoyed the structure of the chapter. So how you did call outs, and because I can hear your voice personally, it's like, oh, I hear her saying that. I hear her raising her voice. Oh, I hear the excitement in her voice. And so, you love is your banner. And I feel that here in this writing. And, I said that it's a chief example of love and honor for covenant. And, so many great things said in here. And, I just appreciate your willingness to share openly. Like, your life is an open book. You all's life is an open book. Bishop, he shares openly, and, it's just open, and I like that. But the word that keeps ringing out is that you honor your covenant. And I'm married, and, I understand the work of marriage. Like, it takes work. And sometimes the work of it will cause you to be exhausted in the way. It's just like it. So the work can kind of tear at the fabric of the parts that you would enjoy the most. But like, here's a framework to keep that thing alive. And, and I just appreciate it. I appreciate your willingness to be transparent and share. So something on page 100. And I love that you're saying, look, like I said, I love the structure because you're declaring over marriages. You're speaking life. You're praying in this chapter. I was like, yes, this is so good. I can hear her saying those words. And just, you've shared the vibrancy of marriage. Like, I feel like so much of social media, and we get the dark sides of everything. In the news, they report the worst of everything. Social media, it's attractive. People gravitate to negative things. How we used to run to a fight. I feel like people do that even when it comes to in social media. So we run to what's negative. We run to, oh, she told him off, or he exposed her. The whole rant by Nas. I was just like, we look how much attention it gets. And look, this is what needs to get our attention. And so this is an attention getter. Page 100. If you are living and breathing, if you are walking out the promises of God over your life, you owe God your voice. And I said, yes, Lady Wright. Yes, that's good. Oh my God. I was like, yes. Yes, you owe God your voice in marriage, in singleness, in brokenness, in wholeness, in whatever your is. You owe God your voice. And then this is on page 101, your quote. What you do publicly does not determine the value of your love. It is when no one else is around and you are faced with the singleness of your yes that determines if this is your happily ever after. And honey, I said, Lord, yes. And look, the thing is, and I'm going to be done after this moment. Maybe I'm not. Am I? No, I'm not. Wait. But it's like, we have been seduced by the filtered highlights of social media. Yeah. And so that's what causes us to desire skip steps. Yeah. We want to skip steps because because social media and these filtered highlights make it look easy. No. Look, this is a framework. You're going to need to get in the trenches of your covenant. Or any yes that you give. You know what I mean? I agree with what Lady Wright said. It might be to the married, it might be to the single, but every person can get something out of every page. But you got to get in the trenches of your whatever. All right. Okay, so then on page 102, at the bottom, fluff will not maintain a relationship, nor will it keep a beating heart. The assignment you have as a husband and wife is a called place. And then over here on page 103, do not give up on your called place. And look, if you have the book, you know it's big, it's bold, it's it's an alarm. She is sounding the alarm. Don't give up on your called place. Listen, obedience is better than sacrifice. And I mean, anyway, I'm gonna stop and let somebody else talk. But wait. Okay, go ahead.
When you were talking about honor, the word I keep hearing as I read your pages over and over is loyalty to your covenant. We don't know what loyalty looks like. And unfortunately for so many of us, loyalty now is associated with naivety from the perspective of we make it a victim thing. Like, oh, I gave them my all and they weren't loyal. No, you're going with your eyes wide open and choose it. If I'm chosen to be loyal to this cause, it's going to come at a price.
Yes.
But the rewards of loyalty is always greater than what you give when you look at it from the right perspective.
Agreed. No, go ahead. What you think about the right kind of love since you got the mic?
Yes. But actually, I highlighted quite a few. So can we talk about it? Let me go back to the
I
page.
had more too, but they silenced me, y'all.
You talked about.
Somebody else 24 minutes. Oh, yeah, somebody
Yeah.
else a chance.
I want to go into the ideologies of your circle, and that's on 105. And just so that we can capture some of the other things that we haven't been able to glean off from. The ideologies of your circle of influence can be taken on like a bad cold. Choose your circle wisely. The impact your chosen circle has on your life can either be extremely rewarding or profoundly detrimental to your promise. And what I liked about that is so often we don't realize that our circle is the whole reason why our world looks the way it does. We don't take ownership for how the shaping of our reality has become. And I love the fact that you recognize that it's so easy to take on imposed realities.
Yes.
And you have to take ownership that, nope, I get the right to define what this thing gonna look like. And especially with the people you're in. I think one of the things that we haven't learned to master well is navigating the gift of having people in our world. We think that that means that there's no regulation on our part on how they enter in, how they exit, and the impact that they have. We act like we're just a dead participant, but you get to choose how that looks. And I just think the book is absolutely phenomenal. But if you have not seen what covenant should look like, look on this chapter.
Amen. Shalonda.
Well, I'm pretty much done for the day. Back to what Elder D was saying, she said about a circle check, and I wrote that down about surrounding yourself with those who have done what you've done or people with a press, because it reminds you never to give up. And it's not about what it looks like on the outside. It's not monetary, you know. It's about having people around you that have character. You know what I mean? So you have to surround yourself with integrity and loyalty as it relates to who you have around you, because like Elder D said, that is who, you know, your life is shaped around the people that you surround yourself with that have influence. You know what I mean? So you have to choose wisely who you give that influence to, you know. But back to this part of the book, I'm not crying because Sean already did that for me. But I too am a reflection of, I don't want to get married. Like, I don't know what's wrong with me. And it's just almost like, what is it in me that is outside of the will of God? Because God said it's not good for man to be alone. So what is it that's inside you that makes you not want to do it? And I think that what this does, yes, your chapter shows you what it should look like, what it should reflect, what it should marry. But like Shami said, it's hard because it brings out to you all the things that you don't want to face, that you don't want to address. You don't want to face the brokenness. It hurts you. You know what I mean? That really, that last thing almost really took you out. So what I will do is to compensate that is to be someone else's everything and just think that, okay, I'll give you my all to you, but in return, I know that you can't love me on that level. You know what I mean? So it goes back to when you love someone, sometimes we settle that love out of convenience. So we settle out of convenience for love. Love is not convenient. You know what I mean? And so we do that all the time. And so it goes back to one of the statements that you said was choosing wisely. Choose wisely and choose that person who has the capacity or the ability to love you to the level in which you need to be loved, to nurture you to that next level of your life, to nurture your dreams. You know what I mean? And so waiting for that can sometimes make you weary and make you feel like it's just not going to happen for me, because who is it that is able to cover me at the places, in those deep places that nobody can seem to touch? You know what I mean? Because it's not about, like Shami was saying, when you think about it, you know, I'm trying to get to a place, should I want to be married? And my whole thing was, one day I was sitting, I was talking out, you know, you pray for people, you this, you that, and something, I asked myself the question, well, who's going to cover you? You know, you got Bishop, he covers you, you know, that's your bishop, but in your life, who's that person that you'll be in covenant with that will cover you? You know, because that's what we're looking for. We're looking for that true covenant. But anyway, I'll say all that to say, choose wisely. You said that in bold in the book. And never, page 104. And never settle out of convenience. Make sure it's the plan of God for your life. And one thing that you highlighted in the book also was happiness is a choice. It goes back to your choices. And talking to yourself and having an honest conversation with yourself is like, okay, happiness is a choice. So is resentment. So is brokenness. So is living in the brokenness. So is living in that place that was hurtful to you. So all of these things are the choices. And your life is the sum of your choices. And be mindful of those things, because can you really live with your choices? And if you can't do that, then you should probably choose otherwise.
Yes. So good. So, can I say something else? On page 107, you said your marriage will mirror the effort you put into it. And I think it's everything that Shalana says about choose wisely. So many good things. I had a lot more things highlighted. But anyway, but your point about happiness is a choice. And it makes me think, you know, the saying, time heals all wounds. And I think your choices will heal your wounds. You know, it's just like, well, I don't know if it's time, because you can take all the time and squander and still not make the choice to move on, to love, to be, you know, committed, loyal, all of those good things. So, you know, I don't know if time heals all wounds. I think it's a matter of choice. Period. So.
These 2 hours have gone by so extremely fast. This has been so great. And we can't get to it all because we have to wrap up very soon. So I am going to just say that November is our part 2 for Inspired by Love. Yay. We already have some things planned for October that I'm going to get to very briefly. But November, my birthday month, I get to say what I want on my birthday without consulting. So, yeah. So November, we're going to have a part 2 of Inspired by Love. It's necessary. Unfortunately, because we do have a show after this, we have to do a wrap-up. We haven't gotten to Dr. Harvey's piece, and we're going to have to do that in November. I'm sorry. And then I want to highlight, because Angela, Victoria, Vonda, Terri, they've all had, Regina, they've all had some very great chapters that I wanted to get to today. Those powerful women have penned some great things, and we would do them a robbery if we don't discuss them. So we have to do a part 2. Unfortunately, due to time, we have to do a wrap-up right now for part 1, and this is a to be continued. So I'll start with Dr. Harvey. You know, you want to wrap up what we've discussed today, and I saw you pinning some stuff down while we were talking, so we'll start with you.
The first thing, when Elder Diahann was talking about loyalty, for the body of Christ, for women, for men, for people, something that has just been in my heart about loyalty is, it concerns me that loyalty expires when the relationship is over.
That's the truth.
What's your cash app?
If God grants you access to anyone's life, high profile or not, you take that to the grave with you, because it means that you were never loyal. You were just investigating.
Never loyal, just investigating?
If you were loyal, listen. You cannot be exposed to secrets and only be a secret keeper when the relationship benefits you. Loyalty is shutting up when you want to tell it. Listen, it's stuff. I was in a relationship with someone for 6 years, was going to marry them, and we broke up, and God would not let me tell anybody why we broke up to this day. And it was in 2006. He would not give me permission to expose them because he has something for them, and a negative testimony from me cannot interrupt a flow of forgiveness in the earth. What? So some things you just can't say. So how can God promote him when I'm waving a banner of dishonor about him when I need forgiveness for things that I've done? Amen. So loyalty,
this is what's lacking in the
loyalty
body.
is lacking because you cannot get close to someone and be their armor bearer or be their friend at work, and then as soon as you go to another job, you're exposing them. That means that you have a character flaw that gives you permission to be dishonorable when you want to be honored. That's all I'm gonna say on that one. I'm gonna say that. When you want to be honored.
But you dishonoring folks. Yes.
And the relationships and the credibility you have came from that relationship, not from you. Amen. So if anything, you owe them the fact that they added some value to your life. So you're paying them with your loyalty till you leave here, okay? All right. So
it's a gift.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
my payment is my loyalty.
And then, because that just, it cracks me up. I mean, I'm not going to ever say anything, even though we all know something. But guess what? We've all done something too.
Exactly.
So I'm just as guilty as anyone else. And so you just thank God that you need to extend the kind of grace you need for your own life. And that's what I do.
Extend the grace you need.
I extend the grace I need. Because see, before Christ, okay, BC, before Christ, I was Michelle Harvey, Michelle Harvey. Everybody in North Carolina knows Michelle. Keep them secrets to yourself. Be quiet. Be kind. But Michelle Harvey got saved and God transformed my life. And so I understand grace. And so even if I'm living right now as much as I can with the help of the Holy Spirit, I have not forgotten the grace that equipped me to understand the attributes of God.
Amen.
That's good.
I haven't forgotten that. So every day I'm thankful I know how to behave now.
This is it.
Okay. And then the other thing, as
That
Shalonda
two
was
quick
speaking, as Shalonda was speaking, and Charmy was speaking, because loving again or allowing someone in your life again can be paralyzing because you remember the impact of what extending yourself did before. And so in order to love again or be loved again or be open again, you have to terminate the impact of the truth of your pain. You have to make a decision to terminate its power. And that way you can extend yourself to someone else. Giving someone permission to access what you know can damage you is dangerous. You know that you're getting ready to give them a place that if they operate contrary to what you need, that it could break your heart. So that can be scary. And the goal of pain or the enemy attacking your life is to seclude you and torment you so that he can condition you in a way that you cannot represent the love of God, because that's the ultimate goal.
That's it. That's so good. Ladies, for the sake of time, we're going to hold your wrap up for our next meeting. We're definitely going to do a part 2 in November.
I was
And
just
I'm
gonna read what was on Lady Dawn's screen. I was gonna be like, excuse me.
excited about it. Just a few things. The month of October is going to be somewhat different. Jen, can you put that flyer up? On October 20th, which will be our next book club, that the ladies have... He trying to rush us out of here. That's not right. We have My Plus One. I'm doing a one-on-one intimate conversation with Pastor Mia Wright. She has a book called Unthinkable. She's amazing. I Googled her, and let me tell you something. They have the largest church in the United States of America, her and her husband. They're doing such great and mighty works in the earth, and I'm excited about having this one-on-one with her. And that's going to be the first hour. The second hour, I've developed an intimate relationship with the mothers who unfortunately have lost kids, and we're going to spend that second hour. Hopefully Shalonda and Dee can join me in that hour, and we're going to share the sentiments of their heart, some works that we're doing together, and just some encouragement that can give another mother's heart that's gone through the same thing. So I'm excited about that. That is Saturday, October the 20th. And I'm looking forward to it. Did we have anybody? Did we have anybody? Did we draw somebody's name for the 2 books? Just give me 2 names real fast. Draw them. Yes. Yes, and the website to purchase is, what is it, Elder? EmbraceYourGreatness.org is the website to go if you want to purchase your book and be prepared, or your shirt that I have on that I modeled, to be prepared for our November edition. And the two names is Sharon Jones. Yes. Sharon, whatever method you're using, DM us and let us know your mailing address. And Sophia Wells.
Sharon, she should be at church tomorrow.
Oh, that's her new married name.
She should be at church tomorrow.
All right, good. So, ladies, see Charmy tomorrow to get your books. Thank you so much for joining in. And I'll leave with you very briefly the sentiments of my heart for the week. And it is, bravery is contagious. I want to shout out loudly and thank Christine Ford, the young lady that came forward to talk about her victimization with, did I make that word up? With the Supreme Court Judge Kavanaugh. And I want to thank her for coming forward, because bravery is contagious. She had everything to lose. She was a professor. She's a professor at a prestigious school, Stanford University. I mean, she had a very successful life, her and her husband. She had everything to lose and nothing to gain. Because she came forward, the sexual assault hotline received a 210% increase because of her bravery. And for that, it should be acknowledged and it should be shouted loudly. Yes. Thank you so much for being brave. Bravery is contagious, and your mark on the earth will be forever remembered. Thank you. And with that being said, thank you for joining us today. We look forward to seeing you next Saturday. Thank you, ladies. This has been phenomenal. I love you, and we'll see you next month. Yes.
The life of